Hello and welcome to another of my Let's Make a Noise videos. This one, we're going to be looking at I was going to say a brand new synth. I mean, it's a very new update to an existing synth, but in many ways it feels like a new synth as well. It certainly does to me. We're going to be looking at ImpOSCar 3 from GeForce Synths. Now, GeForce Synths make some absolutely terrific emulations of classic and somewhat sometimes esoteric analog synths, or in the case of this one, a slightly analog hybrid synth. We'll get onto that in a minute. And they've also now got, they've teamed up with Oberheim to make variations of their classic synths in soft synth format, which is great. So ImpOSCar 3, it's obviously the third iteration of their ImpOSCar soft synth, which feels like it's been around for quite a while now, doesn't it? I must confess I hadn't really used either of the previous two variations much at all, partly because my screen was very big, my monitor is very big, and ImpOSCar 2 looked very tiny on it, and glasses, aging eyes, that kind of thing. But now we've got a fully scalable version, and it looks much clearer, and it's prettier to look at. And the GUI is very different because it's styled on how the original Oscar hardware synth looked, which is quite a unique look. Not quite a unique look; it's a unique look. There's no quite about it. And obviously they've kept that flavour for their GUI, and it's. There probably are ways you could lay this out better and more clear, but, then you'd lose some of that character, wouldn't you? And sometimes character's fun, and having something a bit different is fun. I've never been terribly au fait with the original Oscar synth. It's a fairly rare, I don't think a huge amount of them were made. It's a British synth, which is, all British 80s synths are always a bit boutique, aren't they? Never make very many of them. It comes from that sort of era where analog and digital hybrids were beginning to come in. So, like Juno synths, it's got digitally controlled oscillators, but an analog filter and sort of gain staging and all that sort of business. And but what Oscar had that some other analog synths at the time certainly didn't have is it had wavetables. Instead of your classic saw, sine, pulse oscillator formats, waveforms, it also had some idiosyncratic waveforms of its own. And that's one of the highlights of ImpOSCar 3 that we're going to look at. So this video is not going to be a review of the synth. I'm not going to go, I give it a million out of 10. Please send me more free synths, please. It's not going to be one of those videos. All I'm going to do today is go through some of the factory patches that I made for it, because GeForce very kindly invited me to make some patches for it. I'm going to just mention a couple of things that I think make it stand out and make it worth getting. And then after that, I thought we'd make a patch from scratch for a bit of fun. I haven't actually decided what we're going to do yet, so I will surprise myself. But let's start by going into the new and improved preset management system. We're going to click on ImpOSCar 3 because we're looking for new sounds. And then we're going to very, very vainly type the unfinished daintily with one finger, because my QWERTY keyboard is behind my Arturia key step. Okay, and now you see that's brought up the 20 factory patches that I've made. So let's have a listen. Unfortunately, we're going to start with my very favourite patch that I made. And this is called Barren Waves. And as you can see from the patch notes on the screen, dusty, noisy, evolving darkscape. So let's have a listen. So it's nicely evolving, sweeping from side to side. Lots of cinematic tension and atmosphere. And one of the other features we now have on ImpOSCar 3 is we've now got 4 macros. So I think on all of mine I've got filter on the first one. bit more of that noise and grit. Detune for adding extra mod. Clean, taking out the filth. And then changing the wavetable on oscillator 1. We can move through that oscillator wavetable. So that shows us a little bit about what we've got here. Moving on, blissed out is a pad, I believe, a harmonic pad. So there you can get a really good feel for the wavetables. If we quickly go back here, so obviously both oscillators are on the wavetable. We'll have a little bit more of a look at that in a bit. And then moving on, we've got a filthy lead. So this should be showing off the distortion, I imagine. So one of the only ways I know the original Oscar hardware synth is from Ultravox. It appears in a lot of their behind-the-scenes footage from sort of around 1982, 83, I think, and also on Top of the Pops when they did Love's Great Adventure. Because Ultravox moved over from, obviously, the Vienna albums full of Mini Moog and Arp Odyssey, and then they switched across, spent all that lovely record label money on things like the Oscar and the PPG Wave and stuff like that, and had a bit more of a digital sound. So that's a sort of a midway sort of homage. It's kind of an Oscar sound trying to emulate an Arp Odyssey lead kind of thing. Okay, and now we've got some bell tones. That's probably employing, let's have a look. Let's check if I'm right. No, it isn't. I was going to say that's probably employing the ring mod feature that ImpOSCar 3 has, that the original Oscar didn't have, but it's not. It's just another wavetable patch getting those nice crisp bell sounds. Now this is a funny sound. Very busy, almost sort of Tangerine Dream-like. So I'm using the ARP, and I've got a chord memory chord playing through that ARP. And over here on the envelope trigger, I've got this repeat 1 and 2, which kind of speeds up the triggering of it a bit. And then there's a ton of delay as well. So if we take out the delay, so you can hear the sound a bit more clearly. So that's quite fun. And Fizzy Legs, which is another pad sound. That's rather nice. And then Inconsequential is next. We hear that tail go. Another arpeggiator. That's got a bit more of that sort of skippy 90s electronic vibe. Again, using the arpeggiator over here. Lovely. What have we got next? Deep and dark, disturbing piano. This sound was inspired when obviously thinking about ImpOSCar 3 being a cross between that sort of digital oscillator and analog filter vibe. I used to have an Ensoniq ESQ1 synth, and that had some really lovely sort of digital piano sounds, but that went through its analog filter, and I thought it was a lovely sound, and that's what I've come up with here. And then we have now got ring mod going on here. So we've got wavetable, oscillator 1 playing a wavetable. And then obviously you get that harmonics from the ring mod, and then they're in the middle to get the blend. Rather a nice piano sound, I think. Right, what have we got here? A bass sequence. This is probably just a sort of a LFO triggered one, is it? Don't know, is it up? Yeah, that's using the LFO here. You can see the LFO amount is maxed out. Nice modern drum beat, bass line rather. Okay, here's a bit of my love for house music coming through. So I seem to remember this had quite some interesting macros. It's a real widener from that chorus. And then the octaver brings in a higher octave. So if you're into house and rave, lovely. 80s bass. Good old crunchy analog bass there. And some fun bells. Lots of delays on that one. I think this next one's another arpeggiator one, harmonic arp sequence. I think I called that orbitum because it had a kind of orbital vibe to it to me. You may disagree. Another rave stab synth. Now with the nice modulation and effects you get on ImpOSCar, that's almost too bright and clean for proper rave, isn't it? A little bit of a noise percussion loop just to show that you can do that on here. Delays doing mad stuff again. Let's see what it sounds like that one. You just pick out, you can hear the ring mod quite nicely in there. Cool. Rotter, what's rotter? Oh, trancey. Right, let's open the envelope and the D-tune. It's got that nice virtual analog sound. If any of you are fans of the old Albino soft synth in the day. Right, what have we got here? Oh, I like this one. This is probably my favourite patch that I came up with. And I kind of came up with it by accident, if I'm honest. wavetables again, going through that lovely analog filter and drive. I think I've got LFOs and stuff, changing the pitch. And I was just fiddling and changing settings and stuff, and it came out and I really liked it. So now we've got a nice bright pad. So as well as you can get that sort of dark and gritty stuff with this, but you can get really bright sounds as well. It's really flexible in terms of, you know, the sort of tonal palette and the color of the sounds you can create. It's kind of a weird luxury sounding drone. I'm quite interested to see what this sounds like with the delay and the reverb taken off. It's quite nice, isn't it? I mean, the reverb and the delay on this are really nice. You know, for a built-in one on a synth, they're really good, and it can be a bit tempting to add lots of them because they do sound nice, but sometimes maybe pare them back a bit as well. And then finally, we've got a bass sound. Another one of those classic bass sounds. Lots of drive, etc. So those are the patches I came up with. I was trying to give a sort of broad idea of the things that appealed to me about this synth, and yeah, I think I did all right. Okay, so what we're going to do, initializing the patch, and that brings us to the basic source out. Hello. And I'm just going to show you a couple of things I do really like about this synth, and we're going to start off with the filter, because I think that really is one of the strengths. Particularly when you blend it with the analog drive. So we're going to boost the drive, so you can hear a bit of that. So that's, and we're going to let's pull this down so we've got octave saws. So far so good, we quite like it. Now when you combine this with the filter, so nice smooth analog filter until you whack up the Q, the resonance. Mother Mary. And then if we put some envelope in there, let's sustain that bit. Nice. So you can probably get some really monstrous acid stuff going on there, which is pretty cool. We can carry on using this sound. Let's make it a little bit less aggressive. That'll do. Bit Daft Punky. And let's have a look at the FX section, because I think the FX section is really nice. So we've got a lovely chorus, actually. So that's depth, that's mode 1. So all the way up to 4 to make it nice and lush. Now the delay you have to be a bit careful with because it can come in a bit strong. But it does add some nice room and width. You can have them linked as they are now, or you can decouple them and move them individually. And then I think the reverb's really nice. So let's pull up the mix up. Let's take the delay out for a second so we can just hear the reverb. Let's make it bigger. Let's make it decay longer. Let's mix it up. Yeah, it's too much decay. Brighten it. Modulation. So, it's nice, isn't it? It's nice. So the other feature that I like on here, let's go back to initializing the patch. So this is one of the real strengths, and that is the fact that you can access a huge amount of wavetables and also create your own. I'm not going to create my own right now, but what we are going to do is we're going to select wavetable for both the oscillators. And we're going to make our own thing. Okay, let's do it. So let's edit here. So obviously this is the edit window. This is where you can start doing your own sound. You've got 256 cycles. But we're going to go in here. Now, what pad should we make a pad? Let's make a pad. I don't make a new pad. So maybe not aggressive. So we've got aggressive, bright, clean, dark. Let's go for something dark. Let's have one thing dark. Unwell. That's got to be fun, isn't it? No, nauseous. Love it. Okay, so can we hear that? Let's get the mix over there. No, that's the wrong. Is that? Hang on. Am I confusing myself? Ah, there we go. So we need it moving. So obviously we can use the LFO to move it around. Bit fast for a pad, isn't it? So let's slow that boy down. Okay, that's quite nice. And we'll go into the other wavetable and let's pick something a bit messier. So dirty harmonic could be quite nice for a pad, couldn't it? Okay, what sounds nice? Mexican wave. Oh, that's not too interesting there. Tomato. You say tomato, I say a Waldorf salad. Hang on. Yeah, sure. Fruit and nuts. Good. Okay, so we'll position it over here and we'll get LFO2 moving at a slightly different speed. A little bit slower. So get the mix back there. And so now we've got something fun going on. Now obviously that's sounding a bit dry. Let's bring up the drive. Let's get all the frequencies in there and let's make more of a paddy envelope. So now we've got some movement. We'll have a little bit of LFO movement in here as well. We'll bring in some frequencies with that. Sharpen it. Cool, so there we go. We've already got some nice movement going on there. So let's make things a bit weirder. And let's go in here and edit the LFO. Now again, we can select some interesting ones. So what do we want? What's bipolarity? Okay, the bouncing ball sounds fun. Let's go with that. That looks very active, doesn't it? LFO2, we can do it directly from here if you want to. Got some rough seas could be fun. Yeah, so we've got some interesting waves. Let's not make it quite as complicated as the other one. Okay, so now, hang on, did I? What? Have I confused myself? Have I found something, a feature I didn't know, that you can have two LFOs running at once? No, I just hadn't selected it from there. Fair enough. And we'll have it in a different LFO position, shall we? No, we won't. We'll have it cycle through the whole thing. I've changed my mind. Right, so let's see what that sounds like. Now we've got different LFOs controlling the filter and also the speed with which we move through the modulations here. Now really randomized. That's quite fun. Let's slow it all down a bit more so we can hear it a bit better. Okay, I like that. It's weird, but I like it. Let's bring the frequency down a bit. The LFO mount up a bit. Right, let's make it a proper pad. Let's have some nice big delays. A bit of the filter it a little bit here. What length have we got at the moment? We've got 1/8 there. Let's... No, not that. We'll go for dotted quarters on there. Let's then unsync and have that on just quarter notes. Okay. So that brings us a little bit of width. And the sound rings quite nicely. But I think reverb is where we're going to get the best results. So let's come up there and have a nice big reverb. Let's go for large. Ooh. That's excited it. No, we'll have a bigger mix. So there you go. We've already got a really crazy vibe going on there. We've got these amazing, moving, evolving digital wavetables, and then they're going through analog model, drive, and filter, and then into the WFX. And I think that's really, really quite an interesting sound. Cool. I'm going to save. Should we save that? We'll save that as a new patch, and that way you can then download it and have a play. This is where I have to remember how to do this because I haven't done it in a while. What should we call that? We'll just call it waves. How boring. I'm the author, Mr. Unfinished. It's going to be so boring naming this because obviously you don't want to spend a week just watching me do this. Okay, and there we go. We have saved that wavetable pad into the folder. It goes. Cool. Init. Right, should we make a bass? Whilst we're here, should we do something less wavetable and do something a bit more analog? Cool, why not? Okay, let's go down an octave. And let's also have that down an octave. Lots of drive. Should we make a punchy one? Okay, and then let's use some envelope here. Let's turn turn it up a little bit. And give it a bit of grunt. Right, a little bit of detune I think is needed here to make it sound a bit fancier. Just a little bit. And right, let's change that to square. That beefs up the low end a bit, doesn't it? Quite bitey. Okay, let's do some auxiliary modulation here. Now we've got a few things we can choose from here. Oscillate to pitch, pulse width, waveform, pulse width there, the Q, oscillator mix. Let's go for pitch. Let's see what happens here. Add a little bit of envelope in there. Tiny amount. Actually, we've detuned it that way, so what happens if we do this? That evens things up a bit, doesn't it? You get any pitch wobble here? Maybe envelope pitch here. Pitch mod. So although it's a slightly unusual layout, once you play with it a bit, you figure out where everything is, and it becomes a lot less complicated, and you get a real feel for where everything finally is. Right, that's a bit flappy. Let's open it up a bit. A bit more release. And I seem to remember you need the sustain up a bit to get the release really working. Needs a bit of chorus, I reckon. Bit more brightness. That's fattened it up a bit, hasn't it? There's a sweet spot. Now we do have unison mode. We could do a mono bass. I think we can need to turn this down because it goes a bit loud. But that's because we've got poly 16 over here. That's a bit much. Do we need that much? Very fat. And you can widen it. And we've kind of moved away from sort of classic synth pop now into a more sort of synthwave territory. Cool. Well, that was quick, wasn't it? That's a big fat analog bass. Let's save that as well. You can have that one for free as well. Gosh, I'm so kind to you. What should we call it? What should we call it? Shout names at the screen. Fat ass. Oh, I've forgotten to put the B in front of ass. Silly me. Made by me. Save. There you go. 2 patches. So that's a not so quick as I intended look at ImpOSCar 3. It's really cool. And today is Thursday the 13th of June or something. This week, I think you've got until tomorrow to save money on its intro price. So I'm going to edit this and stick it straight up on my YouTube channel and refer to it so you can try and grab it quickly if you haven't already. Because it's really cool. And it does do stuff that other analog modeling. You weren't expecting yodeling today, were you? No, neither was I. Analog modeling soft synths don't do. Yeah, lots of fun, and GeForce make super quality synths. Not just saying that because they've asked me to do factory patches. They really do, and it's an absolute travesty that I haven't actually released any sound sets for their synths yet, so apologies for that. But yeah, they're definitely up there with Yuhi as far as sort of really good quality analog sounding soft synths go. So go and check it out. Download the demo version, have a play, if you haven't been convinced by this video. But yeah, get it, because it's great. It really is great, and it does something different. And we all know we need fun there's little synths that do something that a little bit different when you're looking for a sound you can't get from something else that you normally use. This is a great sort of gap filler. And there's loads of really cool new factory patches on it as well. So that's good too. And actually the original hardware factory patches, which have been emulated in here, they were great. Really good factory patches for synths. Some of them are, some you get an old hardware synth and the factory patches are a bit sort of, oh yeah, I recognise that sound. Yeah, that probably was layered with 8 other sounds and then a huge fat reverb in the studio to make a good sound. But out of the box, good. Yeah. Anyway, that's the end of the video, and I hope you've enjoyed watching my latest Let's Make a Noise video. I plan to do more. If you've got any ideas for Let's Make a Noise videos, a synth you'd like to see or a type of sound you'd like to see, then I'm all ears. Comment below and let me know what you think I should be doing. Okay, ta-ta then. I'll see you soon.